Hey, Todd here, and I'm on location over here at the National RV Training Academy, and I'm here to answer your question. Hey, welcome to another one of Todd's 2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday, brought to you by the National RV Training Academy. Hey, before we get to the video, which I know this is the reason why you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Now, back to our Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we go. We have one from DFox6161. When we're traveling, we should have our inverter on, correct, because we have a residential refrigerator, and when we get to our spot and we plug into shore power, do we need to turn it off? All right, so let me help out with this. Todd, when we're traveling down the road, the inverter's on, okay? We have a residential style refrigerator, we want to keep it on. When we pull into our site and we plug in, do we need to turn the inverter off? Well, depends on the age of your RV. Now, if you have an inverter that's probably more than 10 years old, it's an inverter only, right? And if you have the option, maybe a manual switch to switch from inverter over to shore power, yes. And we've started off 2010 or so. That's when we started doing this, right? We call it a manual transfer switch. It was a light switch that said inverter on, shore power, okay? Most inverters now are also a pass-through. When you plug into shore power, you don't have to turn it off. It's hard to answer your question because you need to know the type of inverter you have, but here's the thing. Why don't we do this? Plug it into shore power, okay? Leave the inverter on. Nothing should happen, right? It should just work normally, okay? Even if it's pulling from the batteries, if you're plugged into shore power and you have a separate charger, the charger is charging the batteries. A little more inefficient, but way better than always having to switch on and switch off, okay? So I'm going to tell you, without even knowing it, more than likely, there's a pass-through function, AC pass-through function, on your inverter, and it's allowing it to run even though you're plugged into shore power by using shore power. Paul-9, I can't even say that, N9FV. Sorry, mangled that. Hello, on a Class C motorhome, if I change the coach batteries to lithium and install the appropriate converter, 20 or 30 amp charger, do I still need a DC to DC charger from the motor? The motor already charges the coach batteries, but I'm not sure if the charging will be proper for the new lithium batteries. Group 2431, what do you recommend? Here's the issue, right? You have your alternator and your starter batteries, and those are typically lead acid, okay? And so they sit roughly around 12.7 volts fully charged, alternator on, maybe at 14 at times or whatnot. You have your lithium batteries that sit, right, charged at 14.4, but sit around 13.6. There is typically a solenoid of some sort or a BIM in between the two, depending whether you have a Class C or a Class A. The question is, should I put a DC to DC converter in there? Okay, I'm going to say yes. I would recommend it for a couple reasons. If you have a BIM, it's not regulated. In other words, whatever the current flowing through, instant demand or whatever else, that BIM really doesn't limit it too much. That's a battery isolation manager. It's a relay. There's no limitations there, right? So putting a DC to DC converter limits it to the DC to DC converter's limits, 20 amps, 30 amps, 50 amps, or so on, okay? But it also will step it up in those heavy usage times when you have your, say, your dashboard AC on and all your accoutrement, there's 12 volts, okay? So is it absolutely necessary? No. Is it more efficient to put in there and more efficient to go ahead and get a bigger charge using the limits of the alternator? Absolutely, okay? You can put in a LiBIM, a lithium battery isolation manager, but it doesn't limit the current flowing through. The funny thing about batteries and everything else, electricity flows downhill. If I have a 10 volt battery over here and a 12 volt demand, bam, a lot of electricity will flow through. That can cause problems to some of the smaller circuitry, okay? Having a limiter like a DC to DC converter helps prevent that huge flux of hit. All right.
If you're enjoying what you're learning so far in this tech tip and you want to learn more, why don't you hop on over to the National RV Training Academy, contact your local student advisor where you can start a business, make money while traveling, and be able to help out your fellow campers. Visit NRVTA.com.
No more 24009. No more 24009. That's it. I'm done. One question I've never found answered. Well, you come to the right source, okay? Because I will make it up. No. We have covered our roof with solar panels, and we can no longer get up on the roof. How do we check our roof, right? You can only see a small area past the edge from the ladder. Okay, so when you say you can no longer check your roof, you can only see a small edge. So you're looking for seals and everything else. Based on your submittal, you says you can no longer see the roof. Well, no longer see it easily, okay? Literally, if all you can do is check the sides, that's really the main areas, okay? The sides and the air conditioning. I hope there's a path to your air conditioners, because that sounds to me like you can't even service your air conditioners. Okay, so maybe a path there, okay? If not, you're going to have to move the ladder. In order to check it on the sides, if you can only see this far on either side, guess what? You're going to keep moving the ladder. Some will say, hey, let's get a drone and fly a drone over there. You have to be really good with the drone, but a drone can only see so far, okay? Your eyes up there, that's the best thing. I'm going to recommend not having so many panels that you can't walk to get to the air conditioners. Now, that doesn't mean that I still don't have to move my ladder, but typically, in order to check the seals on the outside, I'm going to have to move the ladder. I have to bring in the slides. This is going to be on a day where the slides aren't out or something like that in order for me to check this, make sure that I don't have any seal problems or anything else. Apart from that, I've got to get to the middle of the roof, so hopefully there's a path where you can get to your air conditioners, because you got to service those things. If you have so many panels that you can't even get to your air conditioner, you're going to have problems with your air conditioner, the coils, getting dirty and everything else. May recommend at that point having to remove a panel or two. That is an option. It's not the best option because there's some work done, but yes, panel can be removed. I'm hoping I'm misinterpreting that question. All right. Here's another one, okay? Kristen Poe, 4967, says this. Oh, my goodness, I'm having the same problem now. I've had two Epic 460, I want to say amp hours, not watts, batteries professionally installed with a Vitron and a whole solar setup. Now, every time I plug into a 120-volt outlet, it automatically pops, and it shuts off the inverter and batteries and everything. It's so frustrating that not even the installer knows how to fix it. Okay, get a different installer. All right. I'm just at a total loss and don't know what to do next. They told me don't plug into anything. Well, what the hell? Okay. Now, my system, you can do that, right? But not everyone has a huge system. Now, how am I supposed to use it? Okay. Does anyone have a solution to this problem? What you're explaining is a short. Okay. When you plug into shore power, electricity is going somewhere where it shouldn't. And luckily, right, the inverter's shutting down before it causes any type of problems. It's great that it's doing that. And you can only do that so many times before the MOSFETs inside that inverter fail. Okay, it sounds like it's on the AC side because it seems to work when you're not plugged into shore power. So to me, the first problem is between the power cord, follow that power cord through all the way to the inverter. If you have an automatic transfer switch, it'll go power cord to automatic transfer switch to the inverter. It is limited to that circuit. Sounds like the problem because it doesn't sound like you have a problem outside of that. After the inverter, because if it's running on batteries, goes to the inverter and the inverter feeds the whole RV, everything's working then. Only when you plug in shore power, right there's your problem. And that cord up to the inverter itself. Could it be that your lines are good with the inverter where it receives the 120 volts? Could that be a problem? Yeah, it could be. It could be checked, but more than likely, I'm going to the first thing I'm going to do is check the wiring. Now, you can unplug from shore power, okay? Unplug the inverter and ohm out your power cord. See if there's continuity between the different probes. If there's continuity, that means there's a short. That would cause it to instant trip. Okay, so you can do a few things. What I'm going to say is find yourself a good technician to come out and just simply check it with the multimeter, figure out where the problem is. I apologize that this is a problem that you had it professionally installed, but if the professional can't figure it out, and I'm going to say that, they need to learn how to use a multimeter. Oh, did I say that? Yes, I did. Hey, if you have questions, go ahead and fill that out. We'll be more than happy to answer it. There's your tech tip. All right, before you get to the bloopers, which is why you're here in the first place, the RV industry needs thousands of RV technicians and inspectors, and now is the perfect time to do that. If you want to make more money or have more control over your time, go ahead and click the link below. Or if you just want to learn how to fix your own RV, got something for you there. Head over to rvtechcourse.com and get started today. Now for the reason that you're at the end of the video, roll the bloopers. Wonder what year you were born. 61 or 61. When we're traveling, should we have our on correct? Cause we a residential refrigerator. Okay, let's do this again. I can't even say that. N9FV. Sorry, mangled that. Ooh, that's it, I'm done.